There is a moment that almost every English learner knows. You are in a conversation, or watching something, or sitting in a room where people around you are speaking English, and the words are coming fast, natural, flowing into each other like water. And you are genuinely trying to catch what they are saying. But it is like trying to catch rain with your hands. You get some of it, but most of it just slips right through. And the frustrating part is not that you do not know English. You do know English. You studied it. You learned words. You understand grammar. But somehow, when real spoken English hits your ears at full speed, something breaks down. And you smile and nod and hope nobody asks you a direct question. That feeling has a reason. And once you understand the reason, everything changes. Here is what nobody tells you when you start learning English. There are actually two kinds of English. There is the English that lives on paper, in textbooks, in exercises, in the clean, perfect sentences your teacher wrote on the board. And then there is spoken English. Real, living, breathing, fast, messy, beautiful spoken English. And these two things are so different from each other that sometimes it feels like they are not even the same language. In written English, every word is there. Every word is complete. I am going to the store looks exactly like that on a page. But say that out loud, the way a native speaker actually says it, and what comes out sounds more like, I'm gonna the store. Or even faster, just gonna store. The words blur. They connect, they shrink, sounds disappear. Letters that exist on paper simply vanish in the air. This is not laziness. This is just how spoken language works. Every language does this. In your own language, you probably do the same thing without even noticing. You shorten words. You swallow sounds. You run things together. You have been doing it your whole life, so it feels natural. But in English, your ear has not had that whole life of practice. So when it happens, your brain panics a little. It is looking for the full word. It is looking for the version it learned. And the version it learned is not what it is hearing. So it gets confused. And this is the real reason listening feels hard. It is not about intelligence. It is not about how much vocabulary you know. It is about the fact that your ear has simply not spent enough time with real spoken English to learn its rhythms, its shortcuts, its patterns. Your ear needs training, just like any other skill. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Your ear is not just a microphone. It does not just receive sound and pass it to your brain. Your ear and your brain work together. And the brain is always doing something very specific when it listens. It is predicting. Every fraction of a second, your brain is guessing what word comes next based on what it just heard. This is why you can sometimes understand a sentence even if you missed a word or two in the middle. Your brain filled in the gap. It predicted. It guessed correctly because it recognized the pattern. Native speakers do this automatically because they have spent their entire lives hearing English. Their brain has millions of these patterns stored. So even in a noisy room, even when someone speaks fast or mumbles, they still understand. Because their brain is not just listening, it is predicting and listening at the same time. When you train your listening, you are not just teaching your ears, you are teaching your brain to predict English. And the more patterns your brain collects from real spoken English, the faster and more accurate those predictions become. Until one day, fast, natural English stops feeling like a flood you are drowning in and starts feeling like something you can actually swim in. But here's the thing. This only happens with the right kind of listening. And most English learners are not doing the right kind. Most people, when they decide to improve their listening, do one of two things. They either watch English movies and shows, which is great, or they do formal listening exercises from a course or a textbook. And both of these have value, but both of them also have a problem. Movies and shows, especially at the beginning, are often too fast, too full of slang, too culturally specific. You spend more time feeling lost than actually absorbing anything. And formal listening exercises are the opposite problem. They are too clean, too slow, too perfect. Nobody in real life speaks the way the audio in a textbook exercise sounds. It is like practicing swimming in a pool with no water. Technically, you are doing the movements, but you are not really swimming. What actually works is something in the middle. Content that is real and natural, but also something your brain can actually follow. And the secret ingredient is not difficulty level. The secret ingredient is interest. When you are genuinely interested in what you are listening to, your brain leans in. It works harder without feeling like it is working. It catches more. It remembers more. Because attention is not something you can fake with your brain. Either it is switched on or it is not. Think about this. You have probably experienced a moment where you were watching something in English, maybe a video, maybe a scene in a show, and you understood almost everything, not because it was easy, but because you were so into it that your brain refused to check out. It stayed focused. It filled in the gaps. It worked. And you probably walked away from that feeling surprised by yourself. Like, wait, did I just understand all of that? That was not an accident. That was your brain performing at its best because you gave it something worth paying attention to. So the first shift in how you approach listening is this. Stop thinking about it as study. Start thinking about it as choosing what you want to pay attention to. Find the English content that makes you forget you are learning. A conversation about something you genuinely care about. A story that pulls you in. A person whose way of talking you find interesting. And then just listen. Fully. Without pausing every 5 seconds to check a dictionary. Without stressing about every word you miss. Just listen and let your brain do its job. Now here is something that will feel a little strange when you first hear it. Missing words is not failure. Missing words is part of the process. Every time you hear something and your brain almost gets it but not quite, that is your brain identifying a gap. And identified gaps get filled over time with more exposure. The problem is not missing words. The problem is giving up because you missed words. Those are completely different things. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. The first time, you fall, maybe many times. But each time you fall, your body is learning something. Your balance is adjusting. Your brain is collecting information about what works and what does not. And then one day, without a dramatic announcement, you just ride. You do not even think about it anymore. Listening to English works exactly the same way. Every confusing moment is your brain collecting information. Trust the process, even when it feels messy. Now I want to talk about something that most listening advice completely ignores, and that is the connection between listening and speaking. Most people treat these as two separate skills. You practice listening over here and speaking over there, but they are not separate. They are deeply, almost inseparably connected. Here is why. When you listen to a lot of natural English, You are not just understanding it. You are unconsciously recording the rhythm of it, the music of it, the way sentences rise and fall, the way certain words get stressed and others almost disappear, the pace, the pauses, the way a native speaker sounds when they are thinking, when they are excited, when they are being casual versus serious. All of this goes in, and when it goes in enough times, it starts to come out when you speak. This is why people who consume a lot of English, who really listen, not just hear, often have noticeably better pronunciation and rhythm even if they never took a single pronunciation class. Because they absorb the sound of the language so deeply that it naturally started shaping the way they produce it. Your voice in English is built from the English voices you have heard. So the more real, natural, interesting English voices you expose yourself to, the richer and more natural your own English voice becomes. And here is the part that I think is genuinely exciting. You are doing this right now. At this exact moment, you are listening to English. Your brain is processing the rhythm, the pace, the pattern of these sentences. And at the same time, if you're reading along, you are connecting what you hear with what you see. Your ear and your eye are working together, reinforcing each other. This is not just watching a video. This is one of the most effective things you can do for your English, and you are already doing it. That is worth a moment. You showed up. You pressed play. You are here, and your brain is working right now whether it feels like it or not. There is a version of you, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, who is going to be in a conversation in English, and something is going to be different. The words coming at you are not going to feel like a flood anymore. They are going to feel more like something you can follow. Not perfectly. Language is never perfect. But comfortably, naturally, like something that belongs to you now. And that version of you is built from the small decisions the current you makes. Like pressing play on a video like this one. Like choosing to listen actively instead of passively. Like trusting that even when it feels hard, something is happening inside your brain that you cannot see yet, but that is absolutely real. Most people quit before that moment arrives. Not because they are not capable, but because progress in language learning is invisible for a long time, and then suddenly, very visible all at once. And the people who quit do it right before the visible part. They put in the work, they do not see the result fast enough, and they stop. And then someone else who started at the same time, who was no smarter, no more talented, just a little more patient, that person suddenly sounds fluent, and it looks like magic from the outside. But it was not magic. It was just consistency, meeting time. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to understand every word today. You do not need to feel confident every time you listen. You just need to keep going. Keep exposing yourself to real English. Keep choosing content that interests you. Keep showing up even on the days when it feels like nothing is clicking. Because something is always clicking. Even when you cannot feel it. Even when you finish a video and think, I barely understood half of that. Your brain heard it. Your brain filed it. Your brain is working on it right now, even as you sleep tonight. That is the honest truth about listening. It is quiet work. It does not always feel dramatic. But the results, when they come, are some of the most satisfying moments in any language learner's life. The moment a fast native speaker says something and your brain catches every word without effort. The moment you watch something in English and realize you forgot to read the subtitles because you did not need them. The moment someone compliments your English and you think back to all those hours of just listening, just showing up, just trusting the process. Those moments are real. They happen. And they are waiting for you on the other side of the work you are doing right now. So keep listening. Keep going. You are closer than you think.